Hello, my name's Teresa Nelson. I'm a triathlon coach, a wife, a mom, a former professional triathlete, and I live with ulcerative colitis. Growing up, I was always very athletic. My parents had me in gymnastics at an early age. When I quit gymnastics at 10, I started swimming. I hated it. My dad said I had to do it for 2 weeks. I still, to this day, remember marking off the calendar every single day how much I didn't want to do it. And then before you know it, I was setting records at the pool, and by the age of 14, I was doing twice-a-days, and I continued that all the way up until college. And then after college, I came back, and they had just lost the triathlon coach at our health club, and I had always wanted to do one, and so I started dabbling with triathlon. So at the age of 24, I was leading a trail running class, and I just started noticing that I was just getting a lot of stomach cramping and aches and pains. I just didn't quite know what was going on, and went in for a few tests, and then they were able to determine I had colitis. When I was first diagnosed, I obviously struggled, but I didn't realize the depth of it. I hadn't lost weight. My training hadn't changed. I was still doing things. And so I think sometimes though too, things just happen so gradually that you don't realize how bad they're actually getting. And so, it just kind of started as baby steps, and then all of a sudden you can't stand up one day and you're in the hospital. And so I think being an athlete, you learn to just push through things that hurt, or your stomach hurts a little bit, or you have to run to the bathroom, and it tends to not be a big deal, and then it becomes a point of, at what point is it bad? I qualified for Kona in 2008 and 2009 and raced on the Big Island at the Kona Ironman World Championships. Both the races maybe didn't go as planned, but looking back, knowing that I might not ever be able to be at a start line for an Ironman, I think it makes me appreciate the fact that I got to do those, and I should have appreciated it a little bit more while I was out there and while I was able to cross the finish line and show that joy and excitement. I think often we take our bodies for granted, and that we continue to improve and get better and better and better instead of stopping and really just being thankful that we get to get out there. And so yes, looking back, I really am just grateful, because even if I get to do it again, I might not even do it in the time that I did on that day. In 2010, I decided to turn professional, and definitely upped my training then, never realizing how bad the ulcerative colitis could be. And then it was in 2010 that I kept just going back to my doctor's office because I was getting very weak, and I had lost over 10 pounds, and going to the bathroom over 30 times throughout the day, and not feeling well, and trying to train and thinking that things were going to be okay. And then that was the first time I was hospitalized for a week. That's when I realized just how debilitating it could be. I remember leaving the hospital and, being teary-eyed, just looking out over the water, and, all of a sudden you appreciate just everything that was out there, because, I miss riding my bike, and I miss the swims, and I miss all that. But when your body is telling you to rest, it just needs to rest. Ultimately, for me, just throughout the years and dealing with my ulcerative colitis today and over the last couple years as it's gotten worse, it's really just come down to health and being as healthy as possible. And being an athlete, that always meant working out for me, but now that that's very limited or not at all, I've learned to embrace a lot of the things that I learned through sport to deal with some of my more challenging days. I'm very passionate about my work. Obviously, my family is very important to me, and so are my friendships. And I've had to find a different way to balance the three. With the UC, there's days that it is a long shot, and I will spend an entire day in bed. But just as being a professional triathlete was, there's the good days, the bad days, and the mediocre days. It takes courage to accept those harder days that happen as well. But on those days is when we actually do learn the most, and they're needed in order for those shining moments to really hold as much value as they really should. So just know that on the hard days, the good days are coming as well.